Please, I'll call on table 1, table 2, and table 3. Please join me on stage as well. As we have this photo session, you can also take selfies, and don't forget to hashtag us on AWESCA 2025, AWEHSCA 2025, hashtag AWESCA 2025. Kindly take a selfie. I want to see you take a selfie. Post on your Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and tag us, so the world can see that there's an international conference going on in Tanzania. Thank you very much. Please take your seat.
Thank you so much, everyone, for obliging us for a photo session. Once again, we say thank you to Ms. Caroline Mugala for sharing stories of women leading safer workplaces across different countries in Africa. I really enjoyed the stories from Ghana to Lesotho and the different parts of Africa. And the key thing that I took away from your session was how educating a woman is like educating a nation. I haven't heard it put like that before, so thank you very much. And now we see that Workplace 5.0 is not just a focus on technology. Okay. It's not just a focus on technology, but it's an opportunity for us to build safer, sustainable, and more inclusive workplaces. Thank you so much. Our next session is the Goodwill message. And to bring us the Goodwill message for today, it's an honor for me to introduce the head of Secretariat of the African Union Economic, Social and Cultural Council, ECOSOC, Mr. William Kari, whose leadership has been pivotal in ensuring that the voices of African people from diverse social, economic, and cultural background are heard in the African Union's decision-making processes. Under his guidance, ECOSOC has made significant stride in supporting the AU's vision for a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa, as outlined in Agenda 2063. He's ably represented today by the Deputy Officer for East Africa at ECOSOC, Alphonse Stanley. Please put your hands together as he comes to give us the Goodwill message.
Good morning. Habari ya asubuhi. I wanted to tell you that on the picture it's not me. Right? Yeah. I think people were looking, who is this guy? Okay, it's not me. No, first I should say, my name is Stanley Alphonse. I'm a citizen of this country, Tanzania, and I am the Deputy Presiding Officer of an organ of the AU, of the African Union, called ECOSOC, the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council of the African Union. I don't know how many of you have ever heard about it. But you know about, yeah, thank you so much, Madam Caroline. You know about the African Union, right? Our headquarters is where? Addis Ababa, right? Now, ECOSOC is one of the organs. There's another organ that has the headquarters here in Tanzania. Which one is that? No? Nobody knows? The African Court of Human and People's Rights, right? In Arusha. Yeah? You guys are not Africans or what? Now, the ECOSOC is an organ. I just want to mention, before I start reading the Goodwill message from our head of secretariat, I just want to, when I have an opportunity like this, I need to tell you a little bit about these African organs because they belong to you. So the ECOSOC is an organ of the AU whose aim is to bridge the gap between the AU and the government and civil society. I know most of you are coming from the civil society, including you are a civil society. So this is your organ. It is meant to be an advisory organ. If you have ever dreamt of like, okay, I have an idea, how can I get it to the president? So this is the organ that you go through, okay? It is formed by the African civil society. So our members, the General Assembly of ECOSOC is formed by 2 civil society from each country, yeah, of the 55 now African nations. And of course, we also have some diaspora members. Now, our leadership is led by what we call a presiding officer or a president. And then the president gets to have 4 deputies. So, you know, we have 5 regions of Africa: West Africa, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa. So when the president comes from one of the region, then he gets 4 other deputies from the other region. So right now, our president comes from the Western African region, from a country of Mali. So he has 4 vice presidents, including myself, who is from the Eastern Africa. I'm from Tanzania, but leading the East African region, which has 13 countries, 13 Eastern African countries. So that is the ECOSOC. Our main mandate, our day-to-day work is advocating for what we call the Agenda 2063. Now, I want to ask you again and test if you guys are Africa enough. Who has ever heard of the Agenda 2063? Yes, I know you have heard. 2, 3, 4 hands. Others? Okay, let me ask you this. Who has ever heard of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs? Every one of us. Yeah? So we know about the Sustainable Development Goals, but we don't know about. Now, the Agenda 2063 is our own version of the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah? It is what we need to achieve, what we intend to achieve as Africans by 2063. It's an agenda that we formed back in 2013. So it's a 50 years goal. If you have never heard about it, I encourage you to go and read about it. It's very, very exciting. And when I was reflecting to this discussion and this year's theme, I was looking at what we call the aspirations of Agenda 2063, and I'll tell you just 2 about them, about this and how they reflect to this. So, for the Agenda 2063, we don't have the goals, we have what we call the aspirations. And inside the aspirations, there are goals inside the aspirations. So we have 7 aspirations. Now, one of them, the first one, is called a prosperous Africa based on the inclusive growth and sustainable development. And when you read about it, there's quite a number of things that covers a lot of the discussion I'm hearing here. So, for example, we intend to have a high standard of living, quality of life, and well-being for all. There's issues of education, educated citizens. There's issues of health and well-being covered in that particular aspirations. There's issues of transformed economies and jobs. But the other one that really caught my attention when I was reflecting on this is our aspiration number 6, which is an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people, especially women and youth, and caring for children. And when you read about it, It touches all matters regarding the full gender equality in all spheres of life, including in work, in professional areas. But because our theme this year also talks about issues of AI and digitization, there's a particular aspiration for that. I think this should be aspiration number, if I'm not mistaken, number 5. Yeah, I think number 5, that talks about Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, and shared values and ethics. Or even number 7, a strong, united, resilient, and influential global player and partner. No, my point is, we have already set the agenda, our own agenda. And this, the Agenda 2063, is something that we developed ourselves. And we intend to achieve it by 2063. We actually have, which year is this? 2025. That means it's already 12 years since when we created this agenda. In 2023, we did an evaluation of 10 years, to see how are we doing with it. That report is there, and it touches every country. But the beauty of the Agenda 2063, in every goal, every aspiration that we have given ourselves, there are particular target for 10 years. So it's divided in 10 years. So go and read about your country. How have Tanzania achieved in the first 10 years of the Agenda 2063? Are we good? Have we done 60%, 70%? If you are interested, go and read. That report is there. Just Google the Agenda 2063 first 10 years report. So my point was to tell you about it because we are Africans. So in every discussion that we go, I encourage you to talk about the Agenda 2063 because it covers almost everything that we intend to do, including all these issues we are discussing today. And regarding ECOSOC, I also invite you to engage with ECOSOC because ECOSOC is meant to be a people-driven mechanism. Our motto is, we are the voice of African citizenry. We organize a lot of discussions, a lot of conferences. So all of you are invited to engage with ECOSOC. Now, having said that, allow me to read now this message coming from our head of secretariat, Mr. William Keru, who is right now in New York at the ONGAD 80, as Madam Caroline spoke about here. We have been organizing a lot of engagements and side meetings in New York to engage, the African leaders. As I said, we advocate for many things. So a lot of our colleagues are in New York right now. So that's why I had to come and represent him. So I will read this Goodwill message on his behalf. So on behalf of the African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, AU ECOSOC, I'm privileged to extend this Goodwill message to the Society of Women in Health, in Safety, Health, and Environment, Africa, Sowshe-a, on the occasion of 2025 African Women in Environment, Occupational Health, and Safety Profession Conference, convened in Dar es Salaam under the theme of Workplace 5.0, Enhancing Safety, Health, and Sustainability through AI and Digitization. I wish to commend Sowshe-a under the leadership of Ms. Fumi Agebola for convening this second continental meeting and the commitment of her and her team to build a Pan-African network of women professionals in these critical, yet too often under-recognized fields. Sowshe-a's persistence and vision are evident in the deliberate expansion of this platform, bringing the second edition in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, following the inaugural conference in Lagos, Nigeria. The regional rotation underscores the determination to ensure the discourse captures the full spectrum of women realities and innovation across Africa, and allows lessons learned in one corner of the continent to inform practices in the other. It is through such inclusivity and continuity that a continental movement takes root and flourishes. Building on last year's achievements, this year's conference is a singular relevancy It turns our attention to the profound ways in which digitalization and technological innovation are remarking the modern workspace, introducing tools that monitor hazards, anticipate risks, and promote sustainable practices. These developments hold enormous promise on the global scale and resonate with the African commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda 2063 that I was speaking about. Yet, for Africa, with its burgeoning youth population and vast, often unrepresented reservoir of the women talent, the central question is how this development might be harnessed to benefit the continent's broader interests. Equally pressing is the challenge of ensuring that the needs, aspirations, and expertise of women in environmental, occupational health, and safety are communicated to the relevant policymakers. How much civil society, governments, and institutions collectively forge a concerted effort to secure a safer working environment, uphold labor rights, and advance the professional standing of women across the continent. The solutions to these challenges cannot be met by technological adoption alone. It requires policies that are inclusive in conception and deliberate in execution. In their absence, existing inequalities will remain or intensify. It is in this light that the conference assumes particular importance, offers a forum to exchange knowledge, refine strategies, and deliberate on how African women professionals and the generation that follow can be positioned as the change makers in shaping the future of work on the continent with vision, authority, and impact. At ECOSOC, as an African Union policy organ for civil society, our mandate carries significant weight within the AU ecosystem. We act as connectors, linking civil society actors from varied professionals, experiences, and regions with policymakers at all tiers of governance. We recognize that civil society, through initiatives such as this annual conference held by Sowshe-a, generates solutions, amplifies community voices, and holds institutions accountable. Their work amplifies how initiatives, when scaled and shared, can become continental exemplars, ensuring that knowledge, expertise, and leadership transverse borders to strengthen Africa as a whole. The empowerment of women in EHS is central to African broader development, from mitigating climate change to safeguarding industrial workplaces and public health. Women professionals occupy pivotal roles. The leadership speaks directly to the aspiration of Agenda 2063, which envisions an Africa that is prosperous, inclusive, and resilient. This conference provides an opportunity to celebrate the achievements and innovations of African women in EHS, whose contribution advance not only safety and sustainability, but also the broader social and economic development of the continent. At the same time, forums such as these underscore the obligations borne by the national governments to establish enabling environment. This includes investment in education and training, the enforcement of occupational health and safety standards, responsible regulations of emerging technologies, and the guarantee of equal opportunity within EHS profession. Without such commitment, the transformative potential of technological innovation in building safer, sustainable workplaces remain unrealized. Together, we must ensure that the 2025 African Women in Environmental, Occupational Health and Safety Profession Conference yields a real action. The edition in Dar es Salaam presents a collective opportunity to assert that women are afforded access to education, mentorship, resources, and recognition commensurate with their expertise. We must lift those who cannot speak for themselves, honoring the realities of workers, families, and communities who depend on us to construct environment that protects rather than endanger and empower rather than exclude. We must come together in partnership as government, private sector, academia, and civil society, and insist that Africa's workplaces of the future are technologically advanced and also equitable, safe, and sustainable. In this spirit, I warmly congratulate Sowshe-a for convening this conference and reaffirming ECOSOC's readiness to partner with you, governments, and all stakeholders in advancing gender equality, occupational health and safety, and sustainable development. If we rise to the challenge before us, the workplace of tomorrow will be more efficient and digitally empowered, where technology serves humanity, and most importantly, more inclusive, mirroring the African we aspire to build, an Africa where every woman and every young person has the opportunity to thrive, to lead, and to shape the future. I thank you.
Please, for the Goodwill message.